Happy Friday! Internets, interwebs, Instabooks, Facegrams. Happy Friday. It's been a long week, but it's been a good week. Hope everybody's having a great week. Today I just want to talk about, hopefully briefly, but it may be a little bit longer video. There's this story in John chapter 4 that takes the entire chapter. Jesus comes to this woman in Samaria, and he sits down by this water well. Now, just a little bit of backstory. The Jews hated the Samaritans, hated them. They thought they were less than citizens. They thought they were less than human. They had horrible ideas of who the Samaritans were. The Jewish people were racist towards the Samaritans. If anybody's a Harry Potter fan out there, they thought that the Samaritans were mudbloods. They were not 100% Jewish. They had Jewish lineage. They had Jewish roots, but they weren't full-blood Jewish because they had married into other people groups, and so the Jewish people hated the Samaritans. They would literally go out of their way to avoid Samaria. But Jesus had to go through Samaria. That's what the scripture says. Jesus had to go through Samaria. And so he goes to this water well, and he sits next to it, and it's about noon, and this woman comes out. Jesus sends his disciples off into the town to go and buy, good, like food, whatever kind of supplies they needed to continue their journey back home. And he sits down next to this water well, and it's noon, and this woman comes out to draw water. And a little bit of, background on that. Women were the ones that would go grab water every day, but they would generally go out early in the morning before the sun came up, before the heat, and they would, get that out of the way. That was the first thing they did. This woman coming out at noon kind of shows that she was already an outcast in her own home. She was an outcast of outcasts. The women probably didn't like her very much, and we get more of that story later, because Jesus tells her, hey, give me a drink. And she's thrown back by it because she's like, you're a Jewish man and you're talking to me, first of all, and then you tell me, give me a drink, and you don't even have anything to draw water with. And so he says, if you knew who was talking to you and the power that lied within him, you would have asked me for a drink and I would have given you living water. And she has this idea that this living water is physical. And so she's like, well, tell me where this water is, because that's going to solve a problem for me. I never have to come out here anymore. I never have to deal with this water well. I never have to deal with bringing out this water jar. It's heavy. It's cumbersome. This is a chore that I don't enjoy doing anyway. If you could give me that water, that would be great, because it would just really alleviate a lot of stress in my life. And so Jesus looks at her and he says, go find your husband and bring him here. And she goes, I have no husband. And he goes, yeah, you're right, you don't. You've been married 5 times, and the one you're living with now is not your husband. You are not married. And so she says, I perceive you're a prophet. And then they go through this whole back and forth about where people are supposed to worship, how people are supposed to worship. And Jesus ends that back and forth with saying, the time is coming and now is when people will worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. And she says, well, there's a coming Messiah. And he basically says, I'm the one that you're waiting for. And in the middle of the chapter, it says, and she left her water jar there, ran into the city, and shouted to everybody, come and see a man who told me all I've ever done. Jesus brought up one portion of her life, and it was not a good portion of her life. It was actually probably the part of her life that she was most insecure about. It's probably the part of her life that she felt like she was deficient in the most ways. It's the part of her life where people could see and would chastise and would comment and mock and all of these different things, because this is the woman who marries everybody. She's been married 5 times. And she's now married. She's not even married to the guy she's living with now. She's completely outside of our religious laws and our moral laws. And he brings that up. That's the one thing he talks to her about. And she runs into the town screaming, telling everybody, come and see the man who told me everything I ever did. Could this be the Messiah? And I want to just focus for a second on the fact that it says she left her water jar there. She left the vessel that she was there, like the only reason she was there was to fill this water container, to take it back to do her chores or cleaning, her cooking, or whatever. And she left it there. She didn't care about it anymore. She literally walked away from it and went into this town where everybody knows who she is. Everybody knows her dirt. Everybody knows, like, golly, that's the girl. She'll steal your husband. And she says, come and see a man who told me all I ever did. Could this be the Messiah? Now, there was a hole in her life. There was a missing piece to her life that she desperately was trying to fill. And she was trying to fill it with men. I don't know what it was that happened to her earlier in her life, but she got married and that didn't work. And so she got married again and that didn't work. So she got married again and that didn't work. She did that 5 times. And then finally she was like, well, marriage isn't the answer. Maybe it's just a man. Maybe it's just a relationship. And so she's living with this guy and doesn't care about, whether she gets married or not. She at least has this man in her life. And that's what she's trying to fill this void with, is the affection and the attention and the acceptance of a man. And Jesus comes in and he's like, hey, I know all about that. But I'm not here to condemn you. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to tell you that you're sinful. I'm not here to tell you that you're broken. She knew all of that already. It's why she was coming to the water well at noon. She knew that she was sinful. She knew that she was broken. She knew that she was dirty. But the Messiah stopped there, had a conversation with her, and told her, like, this is how we worship. This is how we're supposed to worship. And I see all of your dirt. I see all of the brokenness. I see everything that you're doing. And I'm still going to stand here. I'm going to have a conversation with you. I'm going to have a meeting with you. And I'm going to tell you that I am the Messiah that's come. And so she leaves her water jar there and she goes into the city. What is the thing? What is in your water jar? Because she, and this is metaphorically speaking, she was filling her life with anything she could find to find affection and find attention and find confirmation, anything that she could find to find something that would bring her peace apart from God. And we all have these things that we carry around with us, these things that we fill our lives with, that we take comfort in, that probably are not good. They're probably not something that we're supposed to be running to. But we run back to them every day. We run back to them over and over and over and over again. And Jesus is like, look, you're finding temporary fulfillment and temporary satisfaction in this thing. But once it fades away and once it goes away, you're going to be empty again. Let me fill you with living water. Let me fill you with the Spirit. Let me fill you with my presence so that you don't have to run back to these wells that run dry. You don't have to run back and refill your water jar every single day. Christ is calling us into Him. He's calling us into relationship with Him. He's calling us into union with Him so that He can fill us with what we need. He knows us better than we know ourselves, and He knows what we need better than we do. It's time for us to leave our water jars and run back to the town and tell the people to come and find the man that told us everything about ourselves and wasn't there to condemn. He wasn't there to cut us down. He wasn't there to banish us and get rid of us. He was there to call us to a higher standard, to call us to a higher level. What's in your water jar? What is it that you're running back to? What is the well that you're running back to every day that is temporary fulfillment and temporary satisfaction? But Christ is telling you, listen, I have something much better. He always has something much better. Every day, every new day is better with Jesus because He continually refills, He continually replenishes this water that will never run dry when He fills us with His Spirit. Your best days are not behind you. They are in front of you. The best is yet to come. Let's have a great day and let's leave our water jars at the well. Have a good day.